Do you consider making wealth a part of your life in which you are struggling at? And to top it off, reading a book of hundreds of pages isn't your thing either. If that's the case, then this video is a must-watch for you. Stick to the end to know how David Bach is planning to make his readers the millionaires of the 21st century. David Bach's name lies as one of the trusted financial experts and best-selling authors of our time. The Automatic Millionaire isn't the first book of David Bach that made its place in the New York Times bestsellers. Smart Women Finish Rich and Start Late Finish Late are a few amazing books managed to sell over 800 million copies throughout the world. Long story short, kuch to khas hoga na about Mr. David and his books that made people go crazy after them. Which is why we have decided to make one of his books, The Automatic Millionaire, the limelight of today's video. So hopefully, ek din aap sab bhi keh sakenge. We have made it. When talking about his business background, David Bach is also a co-founder of AE Wealth Management Company, one of America's fastest growing financial planning firms. This also marks a green flag for us, since we now know that the financial advice we're gonna hear will be coming from someone who knows what he's doing. A popular quote from his book that goes like this: "None of us really has a choice. We are all playing that money game whether we like it or not. The only question that matters is, are we winning? No matter what age we're at, no matter how much we're earning, and no matter what our financial condition is, we are all spending our wealth on things that we might not be needing. So, where should we really spend most of our wealth? What should be our main focus as soon as we get our paycheck?" According to the words of Mr. Warren Buffett himself, if you don't find a way to make money while you sleep, you will work until you die. This is where the first lesson and the foremost important lesson of the video comes in, aka the LATTE factor. According to David Bach, how much you earn has almost no bare effect on whether or not you can build wealth. Although most of you may disagree at this point, but to everyone's surprise, David Bach is somewhat right. Just as a man's paycheck increases, so does his spending habits, and this is simply how we humans are psychologically wired. अगर आप एक महीने में 40k से level up करके 80k earn करना शुरू कर दो, तो on the very first day, you'll think about getting the new iPhone. Though the phone you might be using at the time would work perfectly fine, but all of a sudden, you'd start feeling the need of it. You would also want to change your current gym and start searching for more premium and spacious gyms, though the equipment you're gonna use are going to be the same, but all of a sudden you'd feel the need to pay extra just for the sake of feeling premium. David Bach shares an example in his to prove his point. Let's have a look at it before we proceed to the next takeaway. Let's say your average coffee shop latte costs about $3.5, which is of course nothing, but which, if considered as a daily cost, amounts to about $1,250 a year. If you are a smoker as well, on average, $7 per day, that's another $2,500 out of the yearly budget. Now, over the past 50 years, the average prices on the stock market have gone by around 10 to 15% on a yearly basis. Let's say that instead of buying a latte and pack of cigarettes each day, you put those $10 aside and you invest them at an annual return of 10%. That would result in more than $1 million after 30 years. In other words, your lattes and your cigarettes are costing you an indescribably fabulous fortune. So ye tha the very first lesson of David Bach's best-selling book. If you're finding this video helpful for you, then make sure to drop a like, as it really helps us to stay motivated to bring more amazing content for you guys to learn from. Moving on to the next lesson, over which almost every other investor highly emphasizes, is prioritizing saving habits and starting early. According to Charlie Munger, find a way to get your hands on the first 100k. I don't care what it takes, if it means walking everywhere, not eating out anything or not buying anything. Once that's done, you can ace up the game. यानी अगर आसान शब्द में कहा जाए तो ग्राउंड रियलिटी ये है कि सबसे ज़्यादा टफ एंड हार्डेस्ट हर्डल सबसे पहला कैपिटल सेव करना में लगता है. Hence, which is why David Bach highlights in his book, Why Start Early is Necessary. दुनिया में जितने भी बड़े-बड़े investors हैं, like Mr. Warren Buffett, Ray Dalio, etc., had only one major advantage over their peers, and which is that they took their first step in the market at a way early age. Let's suppose the time you're watching this video, you're in your early 20s, which means you've just completed your education or even better, gotten your first job with pretty decent pay. What should be the next step then? It's quite simple, and the author David Bach calls it paying yourself first. What does that mean? In simple words, instead of worrying about paying others in the form of bills, rents, etc., the very first thing you need to do as soon as you get your paycheck is to pay your future self by setting aside at least 10% of your income. The second money drops into your bank account. According to the author, you don't have to make a lot of money to be rich. You don't need discipline. You don't need to be your own boss. The only thing you need is pay yourself first and find a way to automate it. So coming back to our example, let's have a look at major setbacks of starting early. Number 1, abundance of capital. If you happen to build the habit of saving early, you're more likely to keep that till you get old and eventually build up with a much bigger corpus of wealth relative to if you start saving late. Number 2, the benefits of risk averaging. To understand what risk averaging means, have a look at this Nifty 50 market summary of the past 5 years. Written with green color, right under the current market price of the index, you'll see that the index overall backed in around 75% profits since 2017 to 2018. However, if you look closely at the timestamp after 2020, right after the pandemic had hit, we saw a sudden drop in the price. This is where risk averaging comes to play and averages your losses over the long term, which means by the end of the day, you don't have to worry about the short-lived drops and losses. The benefit of starting early and going long-term will level it out for you. Number 3, and the point that matters the most, is maximizing compounding yield. According to Albert Einstein, compounding is the eighth wonder of the world. The one who understands it earns it. The one who doesn't pays it. The compounding effect is similar to pushing off a snowball down the cliff. The starting is small and slow. By the end, the small snowball turns into an avalanche. Moving to the very last and also the most crucial lesson amongst all in this book, which most of us tend to underestimate, is the psychological effect of automatic savings deduction. Now, I suppose most of are already similar to the idea of how SIPs or synthetic investing plans work. You choose a mutual fund, you choose how much you are comfortable to save, and then as soon as your paycheck drops into your account, your investments are already pooled in your SIP plan. This phenomena is exactly what David Bach is trying to convince to his audience, and to our surprise, we Indians are already doing it. Kudos. But why automate it? Why not trust your instincts and go with the flow? जानते हैं डेविड बैक के शब्दों में. In reality, people are not disciplined enough to follow a certain routine over longer periods of time. Hence, there is a need to automate the whole process. No excuses and no questions asked. Simply to put it into easy words, if the money is automatically taken from you, you won't be able to spend it. You would get comfortable with the income with savings deducted beforehand. Now, if you're curious of the possible options where you could invest, then feel free to give our video "Earn 1 crore by investing 1000 per month" to see what could be the possible outcomes of your investments. But remember, there is nothing guaranteed in any investments. Sometimes you'll find that the stock of a bad company with poor management trading at a high valuation and is going up every day. The right approach is not to get tempted during such times, because that is the easiest way to destroy your wealth. Instead, stick with one approach and follow it during all times, good or bad. And you'll see that in the long run, you would have made much better returns than most investors. For now, if you like this video, please subscribe to our channel and like this video so it can reach more investors and we can put out more such content and insights regularly. Also, let us know in the comment section below whether you guys want videos on more books from the same author or not. Until then, Omega Finance signing out.